students and international talents come over here, they come with a lot of hope, a lot of aspirations that Canada is the dream, and I'm going to come over here, I'm going to settle quickly, I'm going to have a good education, good job in the fastest possible time.
Mhm.
But guess what? That rarely happens. Control what you can control. Don't stress out about things you cannot control. One is all about mindset. I am getting rejections. Yes, I'm not getting interviews. Yes, I'm struggling with XYZ, but I have self belief. International talent are the most adaptable, courageous, and they're the most resilient talent out there.
What are Johan's top three principles? How would you define them?
Definitely, number one is
In the challenging journey of immigration, it's not just about the physical move from one place to another, but a holistic transformation. Taking care of one's well being, both physically and mentally, is paramount for immigrants as they navigate the intricate paths of change. In this episode, we'll meet an individual who do not only understand the significance of holistic health for immigrants, but also excels in guiding them through the complexities of career transitions and personal development. Our guest is an industrial organizational psychologist and career coach with a remarkable career spanning 15 years. He specializes in leading business transformation initiatives, contributing to the success of global firms like Deloitte, Accenture, and Walmart. He has also been a mentor to hundreds of professionals, helping them secure dream jobs at Canada's top consulting and corporate firms, including industry giants like Amazon, Deloitte, EY, and many more. In this episode, we'll explore his journey from growing up in India to moving to Dubai, a place that became a significant part of his life for a decade. We'll uncover how his cultural observations in Dubai shaped his perspectives and set the stage for his global career. We'll dive into his decision to move to Canada, the challenges he faced, and the holistic approach he believes is vital for the well being of immigrants. Please welcome Yauhan Mehta.
thank you, Gracias, for such a wonderful welcome. I appreciate it.
Of course, Johan, very excited to have you on the podcast and very, very excited for this conversation. So, welcome.
Likewise, I'm super pumped as well, and I look forward to this amazing and hopefully insightful and fun conversation with you today.
Awesome. So, Johan, this episode is actually part of my second season of the podcast, and I basically aim to turn up the fun factor a little bit for this season. And obviously, like to impart more and more knowledge. So, I want to start by asking you some fun questions that I have for you. Okay. So, first, tell us what's your go to breakfast that you have?
So I actually do intermittent fasting.
Okay.
So I don't have a go-to breakfast. I skip breakfast. I know it's not the healthiest thing for some people. For me, it works out really well.
Mhm.
So I skip breakfast and I go right away to lunch. For breakfast, I guess if you call it, I have coffee.
Okay.
Couple of cups of coffee, and that's my breakfast along with water.
Okay. And are you like do you like you have a sweet tooth? Do you want to have like sugar in your coffee or no, just black?
No, because see, if I have sugar in my coffee or even excess of milk in my coffee,
Mm-hmm.
it breaks the fast.
Mm.
So for the fast to work, you cannot consume any more than 50 calories.
Okay.
So if I put any kind of, cream, excessive
Yeah.
cream or sugar or milk, it breaks the fast. So typically it's black coffee or with a little bit of cream, but no sugar.
Okay. And are you doing it like from many years now or you started recently?
I have. I've been doing it since
Oh
2019.
wow.
So it's
Okay.
been 4 years now.
Okay. Great. Okay. So my next question is share like a favorite song or a dialogue or a movie and tell us why it's significant to you.
Good question. I wasn't prepared for this, but I will try. From an English movie perspective, my favorite movie is Forrest Gump with Tom Hanks in it. I just
Absolutely.
love that movie and the story and his acting, and I think he received an award for that as
Yeah.
well. In terms of Hindi movies, which I used to watch a lot of, although I've scaled back now with family and kids, I love the movie Three Idiots.
Okay.
It's just a very powerful story with amazing acting by all three actors, including my favorite actor, which is Amir Khan.
Yeah.
So I would say those are two of my favorites. I'm not a very good singer, so I'm not going to sing any songs from any movies. We'll maybe save that for another day after a couple of drinks.
Okay. So next is if you had to teach one phrase in your mother tongue, what would it be and what does it mean?
So I predominantly speak English,
Okay.
although with my parents it's in Gujarati, and then with some of my friends I speak Hindi as well. So there's a couple of different Indian languages, but most of the phrases that I know are in English. So I'll tell you one in English, which is treat others just in the same way that you'd like to be treated yourself.
Hmm.
And that one is super important to me because it reflects so many of my personal values around compassion, kindness,
Hmm.
caring, and I really love that. Yeah,
Okay.
and I try to practice it as much as I can as well.
Okay, so now I'd like to take you back to the time you spent in India, or I would say like the first initial 5 years of your life in India. Tell us if you have any recollection of that time or something that your parents might have shared with you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So long, long time ago. I'm not that old, but this was a long time ago. Yes, so I was born in Mumbai, and I quickly then was moved from Mumbai to Pune, which is a small city very close to Mumbai. I grew up over there actually with my dad's mom, so
Hmm.
my paternal grandmom, and I lived with her for the first 5 to 6 years of my life. She really, really spoilt me. So there's a lot of memories around, playing with the neighborhood kids, indoors, outdoors, lots of yummy treats. She used to treat me to, I think, like ice cream every other day, chocolates. So lots of very fond memories playing, with other children outdoors, which you don't get to see too much of in Canada. I mean, one, because of the weather,
Yeah.
but then also, everyone's kind of doing their own thing and have, a few selective friend circles. But back home in India, it was very different. As a child, I really, really cherished that. I would say those were the best years of my life, and very fond memories of them.
So, what made the family to move to Dubai then?
Yeah, so when I was about 5 or 6 years old, this is when my parents, who lived in Dubai at the time,
Okay.
and because of work, they were in Dubai, decided to then bring me to Dubai as well for education. And so I joined them along with my older brother, who grew up with my maternal grandmom in Mumbai.
Okay.
So he was over there in Mumbai, I was in Pune. So the two of us moved to Dubai to join my parents. And at that time, we had another brother, a little baby,
Hmm.
who was with my parents growing up in Dubai. So yeah, it was a big change for me, very big change in terms of moving away from being attached to my grandmom for the first 5 6 years, and obviously the way a grandmom treats you and brings you up and comforts you, it's different
Yeah.
than any other family member.
Yeah.
So I really missed that, and I was very upset with moving to Dubai.
I'm sure I can relate to that. I remember going to my grandmother's, even from the maternal side. I never,
Mm.
unfortunately, get to see the paternal side of my grandparents, but I did meet them in Newton once. I remember going to them, and I remember going to them and staying for like 10 days, and you come back with an extra kilo, probably. Like you end up like
Yeah,
eating a lot just staying at their house. So I see what you are saying. Yeah.
absolutely. They spoil, and now I get to experience that with my kids, and my mother spoiling them and my wife's mother spoiling them with lots of clothes
Yeah.
and treats and everything. So I completely relate. I think that never goes away, especially in Indian
Yeah.
households.
So you mentioned that your parents were living in Dubai and you were still in India, and from the one with your brother was another grandmother, and you were another grandmother. So did you guys anytime were meeting together, like in the initial 5 years of your life? Were your parents visiting? Was it like occasionally? How was that like?
Yeah, so they used to visit once a year, when they had time off from work in Dubai. So they came down to India once a year, which is when I got to meet them. But it was only for a couple of weeks, so it wasn't too extensive.
Hmm.
But yes, we did meet in between.
Okay, okay. And if I ask you if you had to teleport back to a particular place or maybe like a particular occasion, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, my years growing up in Dubai were good, but they were very much focused on mainly being home, not as much playing around
Hmm.
outside, not as much socializing. It was mainly academic focused. So I would say, if I was to go back in time, it's my days in Pune, that I really cherish, and I would love to teleport back even for a few days just to eat all that food and not worry about doing intermittent fasting
Yeah,
and,
yeah, of course.
and just playing with my friends and being carefree, which now I get to witness that in my
Hmm.
kids. I think those are the most precious
Yeah,
days.
okay. So speaking of, your time in Dubai, tell me about your high school. Like, how was that for you? Like, I mean, what kind of school were you studying in, or did that anyway shaped you the way you are today? The time that you spent in high school there.
Yeah, so high school over there, good question, Gurasis, because the high school over there, I think, was very fundamental
Of course.
in shaping me from an academic perspective, from a behavior perspective. So in Dubai, I went to a school called Indian High School.
Okay.
It was a school predominantly for Indians living in Dubai, and it was the highest ranked school in Dubai in terms of academics. So, like I said, very much education and academics focused, and I think that got me into a habit of really being disciplined. Focusing on getting good grades, competition, but a healthy competition, and also some sports. Although I didn't play too much of sports, but
Hmm.
I was pretty good with a couple of things like swimming and table tennis and running. I was quite fast back in the day. So yeah, the school played a huge role in terms of discipline, education, and shaping, the person who I am today, and the career that I've had for sure.
What about the culture? Any culture observations you had? Any certain experiences? Obviously, yes, you were younger, but you still have like some understanding of the culture from India. Then coming to Dubai, how did that anyway like affected you in any
Yeah.
way?
I didn't feel at the time that it was a huge cultural change because, like I said, the school was Indian high school, so it was for Indian
Yeah.
students. So, a lot of my friends spoke in English, Hindi, which was very comfortable for me. And the food was very similar, Dubai versus India. So it didn't feel like a big culture change. The culture change happened once I left Dubai. That was massive.
And what was your dream career growing up?
I had a couple. So I wanted to become an actor, but this is when I was 5 years old. So I would copy, Anil Kapoor. I
Hmm.
really liked him.
Okay.
And my first couple of movies that I watched, which was Ram Lakhan and Tezab, were both, movies I watched with my grandmom in Pune, at that age of 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And since then I was a die-hard Anil Kapoor fan, so I would dress like him, wear kind of clothes like him. I wanted like long hair, and I at the time he had a little bit of a hair, his hair kind of coming out over here on his
For it,
forehead. So
yeah.
I wanted to emulate I wanted to emulate that look as a 5-year-old. Um, so yeah, that was it. Yeah.
So let's just pivot towards your transition towards Canada. Tell us like what influenced the family to come here and how was the process for you guys like?
So, when we were in Dubai, there was not much in terms of further education beyond grade 12. So this is where my parents had to think about, okay, once, the kids are done with grade 12, where can we transition? So they started planning in advance. And when I was in grade 9, and my older brother, finished grade 12, so he moved over to the US because, he wanted to go there and pursue his university and everything over there. Versus me and my younger brother, they decided that Canada would be a better option for
Hmm.
us. So we found immigration to Canada. This was back in 2020. Sorry, back
2000s, I
in
believe.
2000. Back in 2000.
Yeah.
Sorry. So 23 and a half years ago
Yeah.
is when I moved here with my parents. And that was a huge change for me because Canada is nothing like Dubai in terms of anything, to be honest with you. Culture, the weather, the food, the
Yeah.
people, it was a 360-degree change for me. And at that time I was a little bit older as well. I was, I think, like 15, 16 years old, so I was more attuned to noticing things and paying attention to such kind of cultural
Yeah.
differences.
Tell us about your first day if you remember. How was that like? Any initial thoughts or emotions?
I mean, I don't have recollections of the exact first day, but I remember the first couple of days were hard because I think we were not prepared with the right jackets. Even though this was back in, I think we landed on like April, first week of April, so we
Okay,
were not prepared with, the right gear. It was cold at that time, especially coming from Dubai, where the temperature goes to like plus 40.
absolutely.
Even if you come down to plus 10, that still feels quite cold.
Yeah.
um, and then as the months went by, just seeing people dressed very differently once spring was done, and July and August and June, July, August hit. It's like all the jackets are gone, and people are in half the amount of clothing that they were wearing back in April. So
Yeah.
that was quite interesting to see as well. You would not see that back in Dubai.
Of course.
um, so, and then, yeah, just getting used to living over here, and trying to make sure I'm able to communicate with people effectively
Hmm.
and they're able to understand me. And grocery shopping, I remember the first couple of
Hmm.
days, what do we buy from here, and converting everything from dollars back into dirhams.
Yeah.
Those were, some initial memories for me.
So, I believe you were telling me earlier you were like just 15, I believe, when you came here, 15, 16. So,
15, 16,
yeah.
yeah.
So, I think at that age, we all have this excitement and some aspirations of going abroad or just like, all, seeing all these Western countries. So, did you have any recollection of that time that what were you thinking? Were you like excited to come here? Were you like nervous? Were you sad because you were leaving your friends back in Dubai that you made in the initial years? How was that like for you?
Yeah, so I don't think I was super excited, to be honest with
Hmm.
you, because I'm a person that does not like too much change, and
Okay.
moving countries is a huge change. So even when I transitioned from India to Dubai, it was a big change, which, I didn't really settle well with me, even over here, because now I had made really good friends in Dubai from my school.
Hmm.
It was difficult. I was not excited. I was sad. I wanted to continue, being in Dubai. But once I came here and once I started life over here, it took some time. It took some time to get over that initial change. And now, no complaints. 23 years later,
Yeah.
more than happy to be here, and of course, settled here, raising a family over here. It's an amazing, amazing country for new immigrants.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how you can be successful, because not every person who comes over here likes it and is able to settle well.
Yeah.
So we can dive a little bit into that later on
Of
as well.
course. And is this something that you were not prepared for, or something that shocked you a lot? That, oh my god, like I never seen this before. Maybe like a certain, I don't know. For example, like it's the size of an onion would be this big. I haven't never seen that in India. So that was like shock for me. Something similar or anything, if you remember.
Yeah, I felt some of the vegetables in the grocery stores I had not experienced, or I had not seen that in
Hmm.
Dubai, or in fact in India as well. So for example, vegetables like broccoli,
Hmm.
right? We never had exposure to broccoli. Now maybe Dubai has it, but at that time, back in the 2000s, they didn't have broccoli over there. Zucchini was another
Hmm.
thing. I thought zucchini was cucumber, but it was completely different. So those kind of things, and just seeing everything so properly kept, properly maintained.
Hmm.
The floors squeaky clean in the grocery stores.
Hmm.
Like our first few shopping experiences were at Metro,
Hmm.
and they really do a good job with giving fresh vegetables, fruits, and produce. So all of that was quite interesting to me. But yes, broccoli is something that stands out.
I would like to get into, your career choice of getting into psychology. And I remember you were telling me that how your experience of living across geographies has definitely, helped you understand human behavior a little bit more, and also very curious about the human interactions that you have had, throughout your experiences and the people you have met. And that's what led you to psychology. Tell us a little bit more about your decision of getting into it, and how was that whole experience for you like?
So very, very interesting experience for me getting into psychology. So I actually did not know too much about psychology. So in my first year, um, finishing high school, my first year, I actually got admission at University of Toronto in their downtown campus in engineering.
Hmm.
So I did 1 year of engineering, but then I dropped out of it
Okay.
for a couple of reasons. One, I felt it did not align with my interest, and also there was misalignment with my skill set.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm good with math and physics and stuff, but not so good and not so interested that I would spend 4 years focused on that.
Hmm.
So then I was thinking, okay, what else can I get into? And obviously, my parents weren't too happy because they wanted me to complete the 4 years in engineering. But I had to really convince them that, psychology and the study of people and the study of human behavior is something that I've always been fascinated with,
Hmm.
people and why people behave in certain ways, why they do things they do, how they think, how they feel, how they act. So I said, let's give this a try. Their condition was, once you finish your undergrad, you have to go on to do something else because an undergraduate degree in psychology is not going to get you
Hmm.
much. So I said, okay, let's make a deal. I will leave engineering, I will move into psychology, but I will do something with the degree after, either pursue a master's or get some additional credentials or certifications, which is what I ended up
Hmm.
doing, a master's in industrial organizational psychology, which is essentially psychology of the workplace.
Yeah. And how that I remember asking you earlier, I want to ask you the same question again. Can you tell us like how putting on this psychology lens has influenced your personal life or interactions with others?
Yeah, so psychology has taught me a lot of things because the courses I took in psychology ranged from, cognitive psychology, which is study of the brain,
Yeah.
to human behavior, which is how we feel, how we act. I also had courses in, psychological disorders,
Mm.
right? So that gave me a good understanding of, people whose mental health is not the best. And I mean, I have been through that journey, and I I go through that journey even now, where there's always a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of uncertainty, and I know a lot of people face that, especially in Canada. I think it's 1 out of 5 or 6 people
Hmm.
who experience some sort of mental health difficulty. So it really helped me to understand and appreciate,
Hmm.
people and their journeys and their lives, and not take life for granted.
Hmm.
And be mindful of, everybody is going through something. So being very mindful of that and being respectful of that. And friends have taught me along the way to be mindful of that, because as a person I can be very mischievous. So sometimes
Hmm.
I need a little bit of reminder to stay within my boundaries and not be too mischievous, because you never know what people are going through, right?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, many life lessons from my 4 years doing psychology.
Hmm. I think this is also something I touch a lot on the podcast, which is not jumping to conclusions and just
Mm,
all you can do is just be kind to people. You never know what they're
yeah,
coming from, what is going on in their lives.
yes,
And I think it can
absolutely.
happen in any way, when you're a professional setting, in your personal setting, or even like on the street sometimes. uh, People just get affected by certain ways people react, but I think we have to keep our calm and like give people benefit of the doubt and let them be.
Yeah, and we also as human beings make a lot of
Yeah.
assumptions, right? So just because somebody looks a certain way or somebody sounds a certain way, we feel, oh, this person is, we categorize people, right?
Yeah.
Based on their looks, based on appearances, their clothing, their choices, and I think that only leads to frustrations, and that only leads to negativity in society. So you're right.
Hmm.
I strongly believe in being compassionate and being kind,
Absolutely.
and that's why my favorite quote is, treat other people like how you'd like to be treated. And obviously
100%.
everybody wants to be treated with respect and
Yeah.
kindness. So you have to lead it that way in order for you to receive that from other people as well.
Tell me, like, how just understanding again of the human behavior and even understanding of the psychology, how that has impacted your personal decision making choices.
So yeah, I would say not just my my studies. I think my life and my experiences in life have really matured me. So as a kid, I was very
Hmm.
mischievous. I mean, I think I am very mischievous.
Hmm.
Although I have to, be a little careful now around the kids, because I'm role modeling for them, so I can't be too naughty in front of them. But to answer your question, yes, I think more than education, I think my life experiences have taught me things,
Mhm.
and have matured me to just be a different person in different stages of my life. So, as you
Hmm.
know, a child compared to a teenager, again, that mischief continued as a teenager as well. But I knew quickly that I had to take my education, my career seriously. So then that transitioned well into me doing well academically, doing my masters, and then
Mhm.
working in good companies. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, a combination of both studies as well as values from my parents, interactions with friends, and just life experiences.
So if I ask you what are Johan's like top three principles, how would you define them?
Definitely, number one is family, and I mean, it doesn't need too much of a definition here, but family and being around people who I love, who I care about, and who care about me is very very important.
Hmm.
And I actually have made lots of choices, including career choices,
Hmm.
based on family values. So, for example, my role with Deloitte right now is remote, and it does not involve traveling, which is what I used to do in my previous
Hmm.
consulting roles. But ever since I've had kids, I purposefully chose this role to prioritize my family and schedule my work around my
Hmm.
family, as opposed to the other way around.
Okay.
The other thing that I value as well is, from a soft skill perspective, I really value empathy,
Hmm.
right? So understanding people, putting yourself in their shoes, understanding their thoughts, their behaviors. And I think psychology has really made this a core value for me. I also really value education
Hmm.
and continuous learning, because as human beings, if we stop learning, we stop growing.
Hmm.
So I tell this to myself, I tell this to my family, my kids now, that always be curious to learn new things. And this is how you will grow personally as well as professionally. So those would be my top three.
So family, empathy, and just keep on learning.
Continuous learning, yes.
Since you work very closely with international students and you do, I mean, interact with thousands of them, and something that where you have also used the term the soul searching before the job searching, and I think I love personally that thing. So tell me, I want to tell share with us like some insights, how someone who is getting into this process of introspection or identifying your personal values and developing soft skills can help international students stand out in the job market and obviously make a successful transition into a new country. Tell us all about that.
I mean, I can speak for hours and hours about it, but I'll give you kind of like my most fundamental and important tips over here, right?
Yeah.
And I hope a lot of students and job seekers and international talent can listen to this. So obviously, when students and international talents come over here, they come with a lot of hope, a lot of aspirations that Canada is the dream, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to settle quickly. I'm going to have a good education, good job in the fastest possible time.
Hmm.
But guess what? That rarely
Yeah.
happens, right? And especially in the last couple of years, where the market has been so uncertain, and even right now, as we record this in November of 2023, it's a very very tough market out there.
Yeah.
Lots of layoffs, lots of hiring freezes. So the first thing is, what I tell people is, control what you can control,
Hmm.
and don't stress out about things you cannot control. So, point number one is all about mindset,
Hmm.
right? Are you maintaining a mindset where, nothing is really working out for me? I don't trust myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not capable enough. Or are you telling yourself that, yes, I am getting rejections. Yes, I'm not getting interviews. Yes, I'm struggling with XYZ, but I have self belief. I know I'm capable. I know I'm
Hmm.
worthy. I know I'm smart, and I can overcome all of these hurdles, and it's just a matter of time
Hmm.
before I achieve success. So number one is positive mindset, optimistic outlook in your career and your life. Point number two, I would say, Gurasis, is being very clear on where you want to go.
Hmm.
So this is the whole career clarity piece. A
Okay.
lot of people, what they do is they take the resume and they start applying for a lot of
Yeah.
jobs, or they start updating their LinkedIn profile, hoping something works out. This seldom is effective in terms of a strategy, because if you don't know where you want to go, it's really hard to craft documents
Yeah.
that align with where you want to go, right? So be sure about, what is it that you want to go after. So what industry, what role, what kind of companies do you want to work for, and why,
Hmm.
right? For each decision you make, ask yourself why. Why do you want to work for a Deloitte?
Yeah.
Why do you want to work for a EY, right? And if it's just about their name and their reputation, that's not deep enough. Right? You
Mm.
have to find something about either their product or their service or the way they treat their employees or the experience they provide to their clients, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of that deeper level thinking that's required. So step number two is clarity. Step number three is, then once you have clarity in terms of where you want to go, you create a plan on how you will get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it that you want to do? And then you bridge the gap between, okay, this is where I am right now. Let's say I want to become a project manager. But I see that a lot of project manager jobs require the PMP certification. So of course, if I want to stand out, I should get the PMP
Yeah.
certification. Or a lot of the jobs I'm looking for are junior level project management jobs. They don't require the PMP. Instead, they require maybe a CAPM, which is a junior level designation, but they require experience in XYZ,
Hmm.
right? So I think I need to upskill myself first, or educate myself first before I become a good, strong candidate.
Hmm.
So there is that little bit of introspection, there's a little bit of planning, assessment required. And then once you do that, basically there are two ways to land interviews. Number one, applying for jobs. Number two,
Yeah.
networking. And then once you get interviews, nobody is born to be a good interviewer and deliver exceptional results in interviews. It comes with a lot of practice, a lot of preparation. So people who take the time to prepare and practice, I feel, doesn't matter how qualified you are or how qualified you're not, they are the ones who excel,
Hmm.
and convert that interview into a job offer. Once you have the offer, also do some research on your value and your worth, right? Just because you're an international student, you don't have experience in Canada, does not mean you can settle for, or does not mean you should settle for a low paying job. Always
Absolutely.
remember your worth and be able to confidently negotiate.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's some great takeaways I have. Definitely having that positive mindset, getting that career clarity, and make a plan for everything where you really want to go. And obviously, not selling yourself short that in any way, just because you're international students. I think I can't emphasize more. I've been talking about this from past 1 year now, that just because you're an immigrant in any way, you are not less than anybody else. And you don't have to like hesitate to even like show off your skills that you already brought from like a national experience. Never hesitate to do that for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, international talent are the most adaptable, they are the most courageous, and they're the most resilient talent out there,
Hmm.
right? It takes a lot of courage and guts to move from your home country to a brand new country, oftentimes, without parental support because the parents are back home, or the siblings, the family, extended family is back home. So it takes a lot. Just the fact that you've moved here in itself speaks a lot about your resilience, your grit.
Hmm.
So wear that as a badge of honor,
Hmm.
and be extremely proud of that. You
Absolutely.
come over here with experience, or that you have global experience. You come here speaking different languages, right? So the locals over here don't have that, or they haven't had the opportunity to have that,
Yeah.
which you do. So that is your differentiating factor. That's your unique value proposition.
Absolutely.
So identify what that is, and then be able to clearly communicate that
Yeah.
to potential employers.
Yeah, I think you've said it perfectly, and I really hope it encourages any of our international students who are listening, or even the aspiring immigrants who are planning to move abroad.
I hope so too. Yeah.
Before we get into the final segment of the podcast, I've introduced this new segment in this season, and I call it "Know Your Host," where I give my guest an opportunity to ask me any question that you would like to ask.
Awesome. I was waiting for that.
Okay.
Tell me, Grasis, so in your time living in Canada, what are the top three lessons that you've learned, that have really helped you, grow as a person, grow as a professional? What would those top three lessons
Hmm.
be?
Sure. I'll talk about like growing as a person first. Definitely, I think I have mentioned it so many in the podcast as well. I grew up in like a very patriarchal household and I had like a certain way of seeing things. And after coming here, just interacting with people and getting exposed to so many cultures and languages as well, and just interacting with these people, I think I've understood that it's important to shed few things which are not serving you anymore, and it's okay to unlearn and relearn some new things. That's something I think I have learned uh, personally for sure. And for professionally, something I have learned is that, which also you also talk a lot about that, which is hard skills definitely get you a job, but soft skills are something which retain you at the job. And I think I have witnessed some examples where they are people who are like professionals in their career, amazing decades of experience, but they were let go just because they were not basically like a team player. I have seen that people will
Mhm.
let go in that sense. So yeah, these are the two things I would say I have definitely learned throughout my journey.
I love that. I love that. That's lots of good insights in in those couple of tidbits over there. Thank you for sharing. I know you asked me this question, so I'm going to put it back to you.
Sure.
What is a movie or documentary that left an impact in your life?
Sure.
And can you recall a dialogue from that really stood out to you? It could be serious. It could be comical as well.
Yeah. No, definitely. I have an answer to that. I always do my research before I ask the guests. So,
You
so
should know the answer to the questions you ask other people, right?
absolutely, yeah, yeah. I always know that. So I think I think I have to go back to my time in 2021 when I was like really going through like a really
Mm,
hard phase. From like my initial 4 months, I think I don't even remember those 4 months anymore because there was so much happening, and because my work permit was expiring, I was left with like 3 months. I wasn't getting any job. I was let go of my the job I was doing already. I was asked to leave the house as well. I had no house. There's so many things just going on in my mind at that
wow.
time. Tons of things, and I think at that time it's an old movie. It's I don't know, it's like a 90s or early 2000s, I believe. It's a Will Smith movie that features Will Smith. It's called The Pursuit of Happiness,
Oh, I
with,
love
or
that
maybe
movie. Yeah.
happiness, how they call it. I think
Mhm.
that movie in general really left an impact on me, that all that comes your way is part of your bigger journey. It's part of your journey, and if you just get bogged down by all these hurdles, pull yourself up and just continue moving, continue putting your effort, and continue doing the best you can in that particular situation. Focus on the things that you can control. You can't control what is not in your control. I think I give the example earlier also, in terms of international
Mhm.
student journey. The things which is in your control is to go ahead and apply to a certain work permit or a job or anything as per the requirements. That's in your control. Whether the immigration office will reply back to you or not, you don't know that. When they're going to reply you back, you don't
Correct.
know that. When is the recruiter going to respond you back or no, you don't know that. So doing the best that you can and continue doing your thing, and just I think that will let you to pursue your happiness, I would say that. Yeah, so that movie is definitely left an impact on me. Yeah, that's how I'll answer that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's a great movie. I love watching that movie as well. There were so many lessons
absolutely. Yeah,
on happiness, on life in general that movie teaches you.
yeah.
Love it. Love it. I'll ask you one more
Sure.
question. Do you cook? And what is your favorite food to eat? You could eat that any day, all day.
Okay. Great question. Yes, and yes, I do cook. I love cooking. I was mentioning it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually, obviously, like back in India, I've hardly cooked. And the funny thing is, my last guest actually asked me this question regarding cooking.
Oh, okay.
So, like, what's something you discovered? And I told them, I think I discovered a cook within me when I came to Canada. I didn't know I
Mm,
could cook back in India only Maggie or maybe like boil some eggs or the worst case scenario. But here, yes, I cook. I cook a lot. I think I cook Indian. I've also tried I actually I cook a lot of like Chinese, very similar to Indian as well, like Indo Chinese. I cook. I cook a lot of like
mhm,
Mexican as
mhm,
well. I cook some Thai food as well,
mm.
and so I think I've cooked Mediterranean, obviously very similar spices and everything, but I do cook that. And something which I think my staple food is, it's very boring answer, but it is dal chawal, or how we call it,
Mhm.
lentils and rice. I think I can have that anytime, every day. Lentil soup, how people call it. I think that's the therapy for me. I love just having a simple plain yellow dal, so to say, we call it. So yeah, I think this is
That's
this is
amazing.
something I would say. Yeah.
So when are you inviting me over for dinner?
Whenever you say, whenever you're available. I'm sure you have a busy schedule, but whenever I'm in Toronto
That's
next, or
okay.
whenever you are in Montreal next, we have to connect for sure. Yeah.
Yes, no, I have a busy schedule, yes, but after all of those dishes you mentioned, Indian, Indo-Chinese,
Yeah.
and Mediterranean and Mexican,
Yeah.
I was like, no, this I think you know what you're doing. So I should probably make a trip to Montreal soon to try that.
100%, 100%. I'm not sure you love it or not. My friends say they love it, they enjoy it, so I'm sure
No,
you'll
no,
do it
I
as well. Yeah.
I don't have very high standards when it comes to food, so anything that you serve me would be good.
Okay.
So thank you for sharing that. It was lovely to know that there's a cook hidden inside grasses as well, and you've discovered that talent for yourself.
So now, Johan, I would like to go to the final segment of the podcast. I call it Beneath the Accent. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence or however you feel like. The idea is just to know a little bit more about Johan. So, ready?
Absolutely, let's go for it.
Tell me an advice you would like to give to your younger self and at what age?
So definitely at my teenage years when I was a little bit off track, advice I would like to give myself was, always remember the consequences of your
Mm-hmm.
actions because every action you take, whether or not you take no action is an
Mm-hmm.
action as well. So always remember, before you do something or take a step, remember what consequences it could have for yourself, for people and the community. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one lesson that I have learned sometimes the hard way growing up.
Okay. Is there any worst advice someone ever gave you?
Yeah, when I was job searching myself, I used to receive advice that it's all about blasting thousands of applications and hopefully one of them will help you land a job. So I remember that distinctly. I won't mention names,
Yeah,
but I remember that distinctly coming from a couple of sources, and we know now that that is absolutely the worst way of landing a job.
of course. Okay. Is there any one dish from your home country that always brings you comfort and nostalgia?
So when I was growing up in Pune, I used to eat a lot of biryani, and biryani since then has stayed with me, and I love it. So similar to how you eat dal and rice, for me, I can eat biryani anytime, any day, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Okay. So you said you moved here obviously like by the age of 15. Do you remember your first friend that you made in Canada and are you still in touch?
Yes, actually, I made a few friends. So I was that way. I was not very shy. I was quite outgoing. I did make few different friends in high
Hmm.
school, and believe it or not, two of my friends that I made are still my best friends today.
Okay.
Even after 23 years, we message almost on a weekly
Hmm.
basis, and it's amazing to see people who you went to high school with now growing up with you, university years, adult, getting married around the same time, having
Yeah.
kids. And my best friend actually just his wife delivered twin babies 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
So that was very exciting to see, and very happy for him. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's that one tradition that you have adopted wholeheartedly, and what's one from your home country that you have introduced to your Canadian friends, if you have?
So I don't have too many Canadian friends.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of my friends. I mean, when I say Canadian, I mean like born raised over
Yeah.
here. Most of my friends are immigrants, just like
Hmm.
myself. Actually, a lot of my friends are friends from high school for many years, and then we've made some friends recently as well. So no tradition. I mean, they know all of the Indian traditions that I know, so I haven't made them adopt any traditions. But some traditions that I didn't used to celebrate back then that we celebrate over here is Thanksgiving,
Okay.
right? So the festival of Thanksgiving, we get together as a family. We don't do like turkey or anything like that, but it's just getting together, having a meal. My wife is of Chinese descent, so we also celebrate now Chinese New Year.
Okay.
So that's a big tradition for us to do every single year. And for the kids, it's Halloween, right? So there was
Hmm.
no Halloween concept back in India or Dubai,
Yeah.
and Halloween just passed, so my house is filled with candy.
Okay.
So if you cook food for me, I will give you one full box of chocolates.
Up for it. No worries. Okay. So
Yeah.
you said your wife is from Chinese descent. So how many languages are spoken in your house now?
So she's of Chinese descent, Gurasis, but she's born and raised in Mumbai.
Okay.
So she has the Chinese, ancestry
Okay.
and the looks, but फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी. And
I
and
love
and
that.
and she speaks fluent Hindi because born and raised in
Of
Mumbai.
course. Yeah.
So it's just Hindi and English. Yeah.
Okay. And do you make that conscious effort to instill, like, for example, Hindi or it in your children?
I wish I did. Unfortunately, ever since my wife and I have been together, we spoke to each other in English.
Okay.
Even though both of us can speak in Hindi, for some reason we always communicated with each other in English. And so it became a little bit odd for us to talk to the children in a different language. So something I regret is not talking in either Hindi or Gujarati or a little bit of Chinese that she knows
Hmm.
with them. So yeah,
Okay.
lessons you learn,
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
as you go.
And is there something you recently bought and you now regret?
I'm very careful with whatever I buy.
Hmm.
I do a lot of research and analysis, so I can't think of anything recent that I bought that was not good value or that I wanted to return.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's next on your bucket list?
So we just had a baby who is now 5 months old. So the next on my bucket list is to give him, the best possible
Hmm.
experience growing up, just like how I've done for my daughter so far, and prioritizing that because family is top priority for me.
Hmm.
In terms of work, it would be, continuing to do a little bit of my coaching, also continuing to work for Deloitte
Hmm.
while maintaining the work life harmony.
Hmm.
And we have a trip coming up in December. So next
Okay.
month we are taking the kids to Disney.
Oh, wow.
So looking forward to that.
Okay. So, you have to create this one law that everybody has to follow. What would it be?
I think coming back again to my value of kindness and
Hmm.
empathy, one law that I would create is just being kind to people, irrespective of what they do, what they say, how they treat you. So the law of kindness
Love that.
by Johann Einstein.
Finally, describe Canada in one word or a sentence.
Opportunity. I think Canada brings thousands and millions of people, and that's one word I would use to describe it. It's a land of opportunities for a reason,
Hmm.
and if you admire and appreciate what it can offer you, I think there's so much.
And lastly, if you could leave me with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Keep doing what you're doing, keep cooking what you're cooking, and just keep making such a big difference in people's lives through sharing people's stories, teaching people different lessons. So I love what you do, and kudos to you for spending so much energy, time, and effort behind this. And you really are inspiring so many people all across Canada and in the world as well. So
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you, Han, for being on the podcast. Thank you for your kind words and adding value to my listeners. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Gracias, for having me. It's an absolute honor, and I really enjoyed our fun conversation together. Wishing you all the very best.